discussion. We'll turn it over to you all.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for having us meet, letting us meet here and talk to you about our capital campaign. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Meg Warner. I'm the executive director. This is Donna Miller. She's our capital campaign lead. She's an electrical engineer and has been in the business for many years. This is Katie Kramer. She works with Kramer and Associates, and they are kind of guiding us through this maze of how to go out and see if there's people who are willing to support us and help us through our next phase. So really today, all we're here to do is to update you on the plan and respectfully request the county's consideration of support for this vital community infrastructure project that will serve Madison County residents and our homeless pet population. We're not in here like asking for money or asking for you to come and have some shovels and stuff like that. We just want to explain why we feel that we need a new shelter. So I think you guys all know that we've been serving Madison County for 35 years. And not only are we the Humane Society, but you guys partner with us to run the dog shelter. So taking in strays and all that kind of good stuff. So last year we served 852 animals, 537 of those were adopted, 117 were reunited with their owners, and then others, you know, if they're there on December 31st, then they just roll over to the next year. So as you know, Madison County is one of Ohio's fastest growing counties, and our animal intake is up 32% since 2022. And we're just out of space. We don't have any more room. And I'm sure that you have heard that the shelters and rescues are over capacity, and it's just really awful right now. It's just awful out there. And that is all over the United States and Canada too. I get on a lot of calls with other rescues, other shelters, and we're all in the same boat trying to do the same thing. So because of our limited space and the increased need, we are being forced to turn dogs and cats away. We've actually closed our wait list. At any given time, we have 18 to 50 cats on the wait list, cats and kittens, and around 18 dogs. So when I say that they're on the wait list, I mean, they've been on the wait list for a while, a long time, and at some points, we just feel that it's in service, disjustice to people to have them on the wait list, because we will most likely never get to them. When we do have a couple kennels come open, Dave always brings us a few more dogs. So it's really difficult to get dogs and cats in. We're also seeing an influx of homeless pets in our community as people are coming and dumping dogs and cats throughout the county. So we're getting calls from, you know, Champaign and Franklin and, you know, all the surrounding counties, even in Dayton. And I mean, they're all calling from everywhere. Mahoning County, we've had a few calls from Mahoning County. And because people are just, they're running out of options. And so what they do is they move and they either leave the animals where they are and we end up getting them anyway, or they go to another county and dump. So our facility was never built to be an animal shelter. We have a shared entrance, which creates chaos and stress for animals and visitors. So we have one entrance, and the volunteers are walking the dogs out and in, and people are coming in to see animals, and it's just very congested. People are turning in their animals, and you know, they're right there crying, and we're trying to find a space for them. We're out of space. Let's see. We have limited to no medical isolation areas, which puts our animals at risk. So right now, We have, some we've had a lot of kittens and cats with Pan Luke this year. Coccidia, all kinds of campy. So when they're there, we don't have an isolation room, so they go in our storage room. If we have a dog, with parvo, they go and we have one other room that kind of is a catch-all. Sometimes it's sometimes it's a it's small, sometimes it's a meet and greet room, sometimes, and then it turns into our isolation for dogs, the parvo room. But we do it, we get it done. And when people come and take tours and they see what we do and that we've served over 850 animals of 1 year on a $469,000 budget, they are just floored, they are amazed. Our medical facilities, if you want to call it that, is one room. And that's where we do our surgeries. That's where we see sick animals. That's where we give all the vaccinations. So when our vets come in, so we don't have a vet on staff, we can't afford a vet. So right now I have 4 vets that come in, 2 we pay, 2 that volunteer. They all come in once a month and we do a spay neuter surgery. You do the spay neuter surgeries and the recovery floor is right in the same area. So we just spread out dog beds and we have volunteers and they monitor while we are continuing to do surgery. And then sometimes we have an emergency animal that comes in and then our staff go down to the meet and greet room and take care of that and do triage and to see what we need to do next. We lack adequate workspace for for staff and volunteers, and sometimes we lose volunteers because there's no room. They want to be able to hang out with the dogs or the cats. Mostly this is with the dogs. We have nowhere for them to just hang out and socialize with them or comfort a really scared animal. In the summertime, we at least kind of have the back green space area and somebody who donated a dog run so they can take them out there. But during the summertime, we don't have, or during the wintertime, we don't have that area. So our solution, so a capital campaign to expand a building, to build a second building. So we're fortunate to have our own 5-acre property and current building, and we're preparing for a capital campaign. And what we'd like to do, although I think we're going to end up doing it in steps, is build a new building. And then we wanted to renovate our current building, but the price tag is pretty high. It's around $6 million. We don't know that we're going to be able to raise that much money. So for right now, we are just looking at, like, we have a lot of people who are offering some in-kind services, you know, plumbers, electricians, things like that. But, you know, you still have to raise a lot of money. So, and that includes not only the building, but everything that goes in there. So, you know, the dog kennels, the cat kennels, you know, just the new surgical suite, yeah. But the renovation for for our current building might have to wait just a little bit while we get the first one done. This campaign will enable us to provide a more dignified space for our shelter animals and meet the increasing need we're seeing throughout the county, because we're just not meeting the need of Madison County, Madison County community. And as we're already behind the 8 ball, and it's just like so the new building is about 10,940 square feet. We're limited on how big it can be because we are on a well, so we cannot have fire extinguishers or sprinklers. Sorry, we can have extinguishers, just not sprinklers. We would have a modern medical suite, which is about 3 times larger than we have, which when you look at how big our medical suite is now, it's pretty small. So 3 times bigger is wonderful. We'll have 40 new dog kennels with outdoor access, plus 32 cat kennels for adoptable animals. We'll have dedicated isolation areas for up to 10 dogs and 16 cats. We'll have 3 meet and greet rooms versus our current room, which serves multiple purposes. So the other day, on a Sunday, we spayed and neutered 45 cats and kittens, and they all got adopted. They were fostered to adopt homes. And, so we had to close. It was a Sunday. We had to close, and a gentleman came in with his two younger kids, and he was like, I'd like to walk dogs, and we just wanted to show my kids some dogs, and we were like, we're really sorry, we're closed today, we explained to him, and he just went off on us. And he was like, that's the dumbest policy I've ever heard of, and you need to change it, and no matter how we tried to explain it, it's not. He was just really angry, he wanted to come out with his kids and spend the day with some dogs, and that didn't get to happen for him, and, but I even said, I'll take you outside, let's go outside. He said, nope, don't want to do it now. All right, well, that's fine, but this is and we feel badly. We have a surgery day, we have that many animals we're doing, we have to close to the public, there's no place to do anything. Okay, so if we do renovate, some of the things for our current building, if we are able to renovate, would just be a place for the staff to be able to go and eat their lunch. Right now, they go in their car, or they run to McDonald's, or they might eat in the cat room, with some of the cats. I find them sitting on the floor in different areas eating, and it would be nice to have them have some downtime. Plus, the other thing is sometimes people don't realize they're on lunch and they're like, can you help us? This cat is sick, or, deputy just brought in a dog. Can you help me? We can't get him out with one person, those kinds of things. But they do it, they're like, that's fine. And they get up and do it. So the expansion will allow us to almost double our capacity. And so we can stop turning animals away. We'll reduce wait times for emergency animal situation, lower operational costs through an efficient plan, because right now our building's not really set up to be efficient, and hopefully have a stronger partnership with the sheriff's department, because I'll call Dave and say all of our kennels are full, even the ones that are set aside we always set aside 2 for overnights. But what we're going to do is we're going to set up some pop-up kennels, and we'll get them cleaned out so that you can. And there was one time when an officer brought a dog, and we were like, I don't know. I mean, we had pop-up kennels everywhere. We did it, we do it, but it's just something that happens, and it's happening more and more often. So yeah, we just kind of want you to know what we're doing for the residents of Madison County, and the dogs and the cats. And I know you don't fund the cat section, but I think that the cat population is, I don't even know how to describe it. It is just so out of control. And people are calling, and they're saying, what do we do? I don't know.
We get a lot of boxes left on our,
Yeah.
with holes in them, and we know what's in it.
Oh, for sure.
3 weeks ago, they left a kennel with a puppy in it. I got a picture if you want to see it. Covered in mange. I think both of them, scabies and Demodex, yeast infection.
Yeah.
She's doing well, but we adopt a lot of the cats that we get there. We spay them, vaccinate them, we do what we got to do to get them. I don't once they come to the clinic, I don't refer them to anybody. We take care of it. We usually find homes for them. The puppy is doing well. We found the home. There's 2 possibilities, but yeah, I know it's tough. How are you going to raise the money?
So Kramer and Associates is helping us with that. We do have some people already who are bigger contributors, and so they're talking to them about that. They should have the report hopefully by the end of October, sorry. But it's mostly just going and talking to people, and some of our donors have some deep pockets. So we do know a gentleman who has built things for a living in Madison County, and he's helping us with, he's hold permits and before, and like, that kind of stuff. So a lot of it is just and networking. And go ahead.
We've spoken to about 15 private supporters of the Humane Society so far through the feasibility study process. And every person that we've spoken with has shared that this is a high priority for them and very compelling. So we found some individuals with capacity to become a major and lead donor through the campaign, which is a really great sign. And so right now we're in the process of determining what can be raised, what's feasible from the private sector. So we'll be happy to share that information with you once the study is complete in the next month or so.
We're also reaching out to people in the Madison County community who I may not have a relationship with, but feel that even if they don't donate, which is totally fine, at least they know what's going on. So. Or they might have something.
And then I gotta talk about something else too.
Sure.
I mean, you guys know what I do for a living, and I
Yes.
think what you're doing is a great thing. But you're working under a $500,000 budget now.
Mhm.
With the new building, your budget's gonna have to be more.
Mhm.
And that part has to be,
So, sure, so some of the things, that with the bigger, medical area, hopefully we'll be able to do, some, spay neuters we've talked to, for the public, because we get a lot of calls about that. So, we've already been in discussions with Dr. Gonzalez, who runs, Rascal, and, they're willing to come out once or twice a quarter to help with that, so that will generate income. It's also, I think that more volunteers will come out when it's I mean, you have 42 dogs in one space, and that's horrible. I mean, nobody wants to live with 42 other people who are talking constantly all the time, right? And then do some smelly stuff, right? So, some of that will be alleviated because I think more volunteers will want to come in and help. It's a very overwhelming thing to go in, especially in the mornings, and clean 42 kennels. And do all the disinfecting process and handle the dogs and the scared ones and the, blah, blah, blah. So in the new facility, instead of 42 dogs being in one room, the best practice is approximately 8. And so that's what we've done is 8, and they're not gonna have to share the space with sick dogs. So yes, we do have like spay neuters. We want to do vaccine clinics. That's our goal. We have talked about potentially hiring somebody who's a fundraiser. We have an events person right now, and we're doing, we did raise a lot of money, but we need to up that. And
I think Columbus Humane had a recent rabies clinic. My daughter just graduated vet school, so I think today she should be getting her license. So she was at a rabies clinic, and I think they had I might be misquoted, 600 animals show up that day.
Possibly. There's another organization in town, Central Pit Savers, used to be on the board. We do vaccination clinics once a month, all over town. Sometimes they go other places. They go to Franklin County and do $5 vaccines. It's a zoo.
It is.
Yeah.
I did one time.
Yeah, yeah, it's a lot of people who are really looking for affordable care, because the other option is call Meg, because I can't afford veterinary care for my dog or cat anymore, or Meg can't take it, I'm just gonna drive off Prairie Oaks and open the door and drive off, and they end up at Meg's place anyway, so that's the unfortunate reality for the homeless animals in every county of Ohio and every state, right?
As we look at the campaign budget as well, right now it's set at 6 million, but as Meg was sharing, we are hoping to be able to value engineer that down to get the cost, leveraging the in-kind relationships that the shelter has, so we can get it hopefully closer to 3.5 or 4 million. And then with that lower amount, we would recommend that the shelter build in 3 years of operating expenses, so that way they have some time to kind of get their feet under them, and as they're adjusting to that new capacity, there's resources there.
You know, sometimes, sometimes you just have to start something. You just have to, you know, I mean, you're still in the business sense, and we're still, you know, we're still saying, because, you know, I lie awake at night thinking, oh gosh, how can, you know, how can we do this? But I think, I mean, the bottom line is, we're not meeting the needs of the community, and, we're trying to get ahead of it, and we're looking at other ways of subsidizing this. And, sometimes you just have to spend the money to make money. I think that, you know, the other thing that, Kramer and Associates is finding out is, we didn't know that there was a shelter in Madison County. You know, no matter how many things we have done in events and getting things out there, there's still a lack of knowledge that we're here. So, and I think as we grow, more people are going to come in and see what we do. I mean, I had a gentleman come in the other night, and he said, wait, you do this all under $500,000? And I said, yes. And he said, what is your greatest need? And I told him a couple of things, and he said, okay, I'm gonna start you out with $10,000. You tell me what you need, and I will write you your check. Okay, wonderful. Would you like to be on our board? And he said, yes, I would love to be on your board.
I will commend you, though, the people that I see that come from Madison County Humane Society are very pleased with you.
We try to be thorough. I
You
mean,
do a good job.
the,
You do a good job, because
the bottom line is our mission. Whenever we're stuck on something, if them right now, even though they're safe, we're doing them an injustice. It's a to get a case of that shelter, and we are going to have to euthanize all of those animals. And that I don't want in the paper, that I don't want in the news, that. I want to do that beforehand. We have got to do this.
There's also the factor of keeping the community safe from dangerous or vicious dogs that people are letting loose in the community that have nowhere to go. That certainly is a good possibility in this climate with homeless animals right now. And to Meg's point, Meg does a fantastic job, and if you don't know it, she works 7 days a week. She is always available to everybody on her phone for any questions at any time, whether it's 7 in the morning or 10 at night.
I got a call at 3 in the morning about a cat that had diarrhea.
Did you? So,
A helicopter parent, and I was like, it's okay, we can deal with this.
she does it.
But yeah, I mean, and I don't want to be sitting here and having you guys say, why didn't you come to us a long time ago? So my extroverts are here. I know, but you are, I mean, so yeah, that we just need to do. Have to do, and I for sure, I don't want the public to come in and say, why, did you not know this was going on?
Have you guys you've been to the shelter, have any of you been to the shelter? I'm sure Meg would be glad to give you a tour, bring your earplugs. But yes, give you a tour of what the facility looks like, it really is sort of the example of rural county shelter, right?
And not best practice,
But
but we're,
you run it really well to get as well as you can get to best practice. It's just not, it's not physically set up for that, which this new shelter would hopefully accomplish.
well, and, I used to volunteer at another shelter, and, a dog got parvo, it was euthanized, and God forbid, all those other dogs that are, were anywhere near this animal. And when I came to Madison County and to volunteer, and I realized that you can't, there's not, you can't cure, you can't cure parvo, but you can treat its symptoms and the dogs can live.
Mhm.
Oh, I never knew that. And we do it. We do it in Little Madison County. We do it. We save those dogs.
Yeah, fortunately, it's still recognizing part of the dogs.
When you figure that right now, we have served 621 animals just so far this year. And at times, we have had 250 animals in our care, whether they're in the prison program, at the shelter, in foster care, and foster to adopt. And Franklin County houses 300 animals. Right?
And the cost, what you had figured out the cost per dog, what does it cost for you to care for one dog that comes in the door? From the time it comes in until the time it's adopted on average?
Well, in the beginning, it's a little bit more expensive because you're, doing all the physicals and vaccinations and stuff, but it's around $85 to $100. And, we don't get that money back and but that's why we just.
Adoptions are not money making. They actually cost money.
So we can't do other things to help the communities such as the vaccine clinics. Now Columbus Essential Care Center, I don't know if you've been there, Dr. Zenekas, but so we have toured other shelters and I did go there. It's a new building that they opened up on the south side of the county. And they also do low cost vaccination clinics, and they would come out and see us. We will show you how we do it. The animals, a lot of them, they don't even get out of the car. They just, and it's a well-oiled operation, so we're just gonna go and see how they do it.
And you were hoping to have a food pantry available for the community funded by entirely by donations. I mean, most shelters have it, Franklin County has it, Williams Union has it. It's people buy food and donate to the shelter so that you can help. You know, some people can keep their animal, but they just can't afford to buy it off or cat food or litter or whatever. And so you can have, we can have that resource available for the community and the community in Madison County.
And we do it to some extent when people call and we have extra food.
We can expand that program with this expanded facility spot.
Well, we appreciate you coming in today.
Thank you.
Thank you for all. Very much important, very.
If you have any questions, you know, you can always give me a call. These nice ladies, they have my email and, my cell phone, you have my cell phone number. So, and I'd love for you guys to come out and take a tour, just so you're.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
It's like,
Do I, so with Rhonda, we've been kind of talking back and forth and, about the budget. Do I need to come back and do I need to set a meeting to come back and talk about?
I would go ahead and send it first and then we. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we'll just let them send it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just just go down.
Got one in hand, got his bring in, through the pairs. So,
Very good.
whatever, or.
Very good. Thank you all. Up front, yes. I'm ready to go. Wow.
I saw your email, I just got it, I'm done. To talk about
Thank you.
next year. Mine. So. So basically, I went through, looked to see, you know, how we're doing so far this year, as far as the different line items in the general fund. Some of them, you know, are trending upwards, the sales tax, for example. Interest income is still trending upwards some. We actually got certification on a couple other parts of the Fox Coral Solar Project, so we are gonna get more money for that next year, which helps. Overall, they're flat compared to 2025, yes, new revenue for 2026. One of the ones that's a little difficult to predict is the miscellaneous category, because that could be about anything. We've had some money come through that category this year for 2025 for a course of property damage, but that's just sort of in and out, kind of tends to inflate the general fund. 2 years before, in 2024, we had quite a large amount under there because we had several large things come through. We had the Shag Park sale property, that was 1.6 million. We had the Medicaid sales tax fund that we had for a few years, we transferred that amount into the general fund, 738,000. So, you know, I looked through what I could over, you know, and compared to the last several years, and this is what I came up with for 2026, 28,940,000.
Looks like pretty much every line item's pretty flat,
Mm-hmm.
pretty similar to what it was last year, other than that miscellaneous category, but everything else seems to be where you would expect.
Do we have the opioid dollars going into?
I believe that's in a separate fund, if I remember correctly. Because it's restricted to its use
Yes.
for just certain things, so, things are just very uncertain right now, you know, with the process part of this, so
Sure.
we're just. And we do have, you know, the 3 million in the, contingent fund, our savings account.
Yeah, or budget stabilization.
That's budget stabilization, and I think from my understanding, we need to use that within 10 years of putting it in there. Or we
I'll get back and forth.
Yeah, so we do have that 3 million, so we could use it in case, you know, things got tight. And we may have things come in that are unexpected, I really don't know, but this is to the best of my knowledge. Looking back at our, you know, financial information and seeing how we're doing so far this year.
So there's about $500,000 difference.
Yeah.
2025 to 2026, but in 2025, we had the sale of Shag Bark.
2024 we did,
2024 was the sale of Shag Bark.
yeah. 2025, the biggest things in miscellaneous are, we had some corset payments
Yeah,
come through for all the damage, you know, there, so that was 500,000.
okay, so pretty much then.
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
is
just-
very flat,
Yeah.
if you take that out of the
Mhm.
picture.
As long as that 20 difference.
Yeah, that miscellaneous is hard to pin down sometimes, because we never know what we're gonna get. We use that for, reimbursement from other funds sometimes.
Yeah.
Appreciate you providing this information.
Sure.
Thank you. Any other questions?
It's a lot to absorb all at once, and it's, you know, we can meet later too, if any other questions come up, or if you have any other additional information, you might find out that, you know, bring money into the general fund that we might not know about, but, yeah, we're not getting much help from the state. That's our local government, you know, went up just a little bit, but not much.
We will need to go to the casino more.
I know. I think that, that trended up a little bit. I mean, we got a budget of 640,000 for 25. I bumped that up a little bit.
When will, I'm sorry, when will we get be reimbursed for the sale of the airport, the land the airport bought?
And do we, I would have to go back and look at that.
That's like.
Yeah,
Very good. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Right, ladies and gentlemen, anything else for the good of the order? Always touching.
position.
Get with that. Okay. That's it.
This purchase.
It's fine. And thank you very much for giving me my thoughts.
Yeah, yeah. I want to get that position filled as soon as possible. So I actually popped it in AI yesterday and went through a job, posting, so, have that readily available. Um, considering where we're at, we're at a pretty important juncture and, what we feel the salary is gonna be worth moving forward, because I think in order to kind of weed out some, getting 550 resumes, and we put a salary range in there, that's probably going to narrow things down a little bit. So, as that position was assistant county administrator, I don't think that's maybe necessary now. But I think we do need to have a fairly decent pay rate to attract high quality talent to that position. So. Items,
Yeah, you and I talked about it yesterday, and I thought it was putting, a range in there, somewhere in the range of 80 to 100, and if you want to attract the top talent at this critical juncture. And a lot to revamp the planning, zoning and economic development kind of department. Zoning code update, comprehensive plan updates, in order to go conjunction with some fairly large projects that are pending in the community. So I think we want to attract a quality individual for that position. I think you gotta pay for quality. So my thought yesterday was to post that position at 80 to 100 and see what kind of applicants we get in that range.
so I was gonna ask you to do a little bit of a salary survey to see where the economic directors are, what they're making in the surrounding communities. So you have not necessarily county, but also cities. Plant City, Union County, Barry Phillips up in Madison, Para, Union County. Not sure who the contact would be in Clark County. You kind of see where those fall, if they fall within that range or not. But considering the position, and if it comes in higher than that, is there any heartburn with, based on the resumes that we get, bumping that pay up even more than that 100?
I mean, not on my part, no. I mean, if we're not getting if we're not attracting the quality candidate that we would want at that range, then I don't have a lot of heartburn with looking at the adjustment based on surrounding counties, cities, what their pay range is, what their pay level is. We want to be competitive. We want to attract top talent. We're at a critical juncture. Yeah. We want to get somebody in that's a quality applicant, quality individual to run that economic development and planning department.
See what Steve says. Maybe you can have something next week.
Yeah, I just want to get the job posted today. And I'm gonna shoot that posting by you guys for approval. So make sure you're comfortable with it, because I did emphasize, that maintaining, that relationship, the balance of ag and strategic development sort of thing. So I try to word that in a way that was, or AI tried to word it more compatible with Madison County than say, Marysville type situation. So but we got a lot of irons in that fire. Yeah, especially 161 corridor. That mean we're
Right in the middle of it.
yeah, right in the middle. So and considering the path that I can see us going down in the future, somebody with a lot of experience would be definitely desirable, and not somebody who's just getting their feet wet.
Yeah.
And
That's right.
in the field.
So this is more experience, but I'm just usually higher compensation, so if that's
Yeah.
something we have to consider, then that's something we have to consider.
Yeah,
Yeah, we get Steve started on that survey right away, you know, surrounding municipalities and counties and other communities.
yeah. Now, emphasis in the interview process, or maybe even in the posting, as far as bringing the project into the county. Because, I mean, we really haven't had a win per se, you know, so in my mind, somebody that has demonstrated that ability to bring in would probably really rise to the top. Unless that is not something that we're interested in.
It's something we're very interested in.
Okay, well, that sounds good. I'll shoot that over to you today then. Hopefully get that posted. Use, you know, all our resources and avenues to get that out there to as big of an audience as possible. And start taking resumes and I don't want to rush the process, but at the same time, I don't want to, you know, be a month or two behind considering the projects that we have going on.
I did say something to David too, I mean, there's a, you know, a lot of economic development people that might be able to, his network recommend somebody for the job.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, Dennis is pretty secure there in zoning, you know, so I don't think he needs a lot of oversight. You know, I think we're reaching that point of that modernization. So now it's, once we get a few things into place, I think he can pretty much not have a lot of supervision.
Yeah, well, he's pretty self-sufficient already.
Yeah, yeah. So I was gonna take planning out more or less. And just strictly focus on economic development. Of course, planning would be an asset, but it's the tips, the CRAs, the tax abatements and all that stuff where my concern is that, and until then, I was gonna lean on Montrose Group. You know, they're on, they have an agreement with them, they have economic development experience, they have deeper knowledge than I do, so. Kind of fill in that role if it need be and using them as a resource until we get somebody in place and they need somebody as well.
Yeah, that's true. Yep, so I'm retaining, so there's one.
Yeah, okay. Anything else?
For me, I believe so.
Yeah, this leaves a lot of interest on my part, for us as trustees. I'm very appreciative of what Dave has done and tried to represent and how he's tried to work with us. 2 years ago, I didn't know Dave at all. So I have I feel like we have a vested interest in whoever this is in the future, but not only it's us, I think it's township. How does the future look like? How does it move forward? My only concern is that it doesn't become something where, there's a competing interest, if that makes sense.
Well, this person would still report to me, so I could, you know, sure that doesn't happen. You know, at least from the county, there's no competition there.
And you guys have heard me in the past and appreciative of that. The township's appreciative of that. Yeah. And everything. Yeah, I just want to voice that. Our town hall also, the other evening, I think it went quite well. It caught us off guard when Channel 6 was there. But then again, I realized they were going to be there about 1 o'clock when he stopped into the house for an interview. But I think everything went all right. There's a few things I think that were getting of concern, but really, went well. And if you guys have any questions or anything with what you shared, I invite you to really give me a call. I'll do whatever I can to answer those questions. We want to continue to interact with you guys in a very active manner in order to be beneficial for you guys. So, yeah, we really, when you talk about tips and jazz, that really goes hand in hand with what some of our meat, potatoes and concerns are. So, yeah, I just thought I'd share that.
Yeah, appreciate that comment. Thank you, sir. Yeah, we'll continue to work closely and whoever we hire, we'll encourage them to continue to work closely with Darby Township. So we appreciate that.
Appreciate it.
And anything else for the good of the order, ladies, gentlemen?
Yeah.
Yeah,